Hello, potassium people. Welcome back to another Banana Bites. Today, we're keeping it simple, alright? Before I eat the banana, I just want to talk a little bit about preferences. You see, and this isn't going to be anything super serious, but I've been thinking about how people have a tendency that tends to stick with them for most of their lives, right? The tendency to enjoy something that is the best first, or to save it for last. I think it's quite intriguing. Myself personally, okay, like if I have a plate of food, what I typically do is I eat the stuff that I find to be least enjoyable first, and then I'll move on to the best thing. Okay, so like a plate of fries and a burger. Burger goes untouched until the fries are gone, right? That's the deal. I was thinking about this because what helps to define that preference? How does it all start, really? I don't have a good answer for this. I'm not some philosophy major. I'm not some kind of psychiatrist or whatever. I'm like, oh well, if you go deep down the rabbit hole to the time when they were 5 years old, you'll be able to see that based on how their parents treated them, they have a preference for this or that. I think really it's just the environment you grow up in, okay? What you are expected to have. And I think a really big factor of this is what resources you're given. And this is just complete theory, right? But let's say you have mostly good things. Like, let's keep using the plate analogy as the easiest one to work with, okay? You have a plate full of bananas. It doesn't matter which one you eat first. They're all bananas, okay? It's just all bananas. So, in that sense, having the best thing first kind of makes sense because there's not necessarily an expectation that there's going to be something worse, okay? On the other hand, if you have a plate full of broccoli, I actually really like broccoli, but I know a lot of people that Brussels sprouts. Let's use Brussels sprouts. There's a genetic thing with them there where they taste really bitter for some people. I have that genetic condition. I guess it's not really a condition, but anyways, Brussels sprouts. A lot of people don't like Brussels sprouts. Some people do. You have a plate that has Brussels sprouts on it. You got like toast. You got chicken leg. Maybe you got a burger. Okay, let's say you got a burger. People love burgers, especially if you're in America. So, Brussels sprouts, toast, burger. Okay, you got a lot of Brussels sprouts. What typically happens is if you eat the burger first, and then the toast, and then the Brussels sprouts, so you have the best thing and then the worst thing last, you are left with the terrible taste of the Brussels sprouts for the rest of the day, or until you brush your teeth or you eat something else, etc., etc. You're left with that taste on your tongue, right? Which leads to you preferring to have a better taste on your tongue at the end of the meal. So in that sense, it makes sense that people who want to have the best thing last will typically have a lot of situations or resources that they prefer not to have, or situations, right? Situations they prefer not to have, and then situations that they really do prefer. Like there's a big variance. Whereas with people who typically just pick the best thing first or don't really care, it would make sense that they have an abundance of good situations or resources to where they would prefer just to pick the best thing right now because they probably don't have to get to the bad stuff, or even if they do get to the bad stuff, it doesn't bother them as much. Complete theory on that, of course, complete speculation. But if you enjoy Brussels sprouts, it probably wouldn't be as bad if you had your whole plate and you were able to just eat it whenever you felt like, or mix it up or whatever have you. So that's just a thought I had. But I think if you had a plate full of bananas, life would be a lot better. So, Valve, why don't you go ahead and add the strange second banana? So if we had a plate full of bananas, we could count every single one we've been eating in TF2. I'd really appreciate that. Now look at this juicy bad boy. Not really juicy, but dang. Now that's a bruise. That's a bruise if I've ever seen one. Good thing is I like the bruises. Oh, that's really good. Soft and sweet. Yeah, I just had to preface the fact that I'm not some kind of major in human thinking, the human process, because it's just complete. There's no evidence for this. It's just speculation. If someone does know, I like to know. You know, I like to know how that comes about, that sort of preference. Well, potassium people, that's all for today. Sorry, just gotta chew a little more. You know, banana stuff. I'll see you all next time. Oh, and Valve, seriously, please add the strange second banana. Seriously, come on, man. Come on. We're trying to give you our money, please. Please.